Yes, I do. I'd like to interrupt and kick off tonight, if that's all right, Jeff. J. Barber and J. Barber in Barber's egalitarian world. Before we begin tonight, I would like, on behalf of all of us who attend late night chat with Jeff, what with Jeff getting so busy again and with the world and Barber centers opening up and Tuesday nights even being discontinued, I'd like to say how appreciative we all are for this overextended time with Barber and kindly facilitated by Jeff Wolverton. The rare subjects covered. The guests' talks, whether well known or rarely heard of. The popular and not so popular subjects. The wonderful readings of rare publications we might not have heard of. The very thoughtful themes. The well-placed quotes. And especially for the fair and egalitarian manner in which it is late night hosted by Jeff Wolverton. Avatar Mehababa Ki Jai.
Right on.
Here, here.
Thank you, Rainey.
Yes.
Something came up, so it's wonderful that Rainey has done that. Because some people thought we weren't being egalitarian, so, but we are. Hey, but before we begin, I mean, this is, Payam, are you still there? Is Payam there?
She'll be back.
Okay, I got something to read. Okay, so, well, let me do something here. Now, is Jaysima there?
I don't see him.
Yikes. I was wondering if someone could post that last email that I sent, because not everybody gets the, not everybody gets the email. Yeah,
I can.
Is it possible? Let's see.
Yes, everything's possible. Can you read that?
Very tiny.
No, you're gonna have to make it a little bit bigger, I think.
I don't know if I... It's like my whole screen as it is.
Mayor Senator, this chap.
Let's mute him. I can't do both things. Somebody mute him.
Yeah. Yikes. You know what? I'm right in the middle of a...
Somebody mute him?
I'm
Okay,
right in the
I got
middle
it.
of a-
Is this a size that's a little better? I can't really get this to like cooperate. I don't know. Because the margins aren't moving with me. Can anybody read this?
Yeah, I can somewhat read it, Angela. Yeah, it's tiny, but it's legible.
We see your Facebook page.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, I see.
Bigger. Can I try?
Yeah, if you
Okay, see what oh, yeah. Share. Is that better?
Oh, much better. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that works.
yeah, much better.
Oh, go ahead, Goer.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was audible. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Dear loving folk, Baba, there is in us the imperative need to feel we belong. Initially, it is to our family, and then it evolves to our neighborhood, perhaps, maybe our ethnic group, our country, etc. And along the way, we invariably meet with disappointments because we encounter others who exclude us, who make us feel we don't belong, or even who don't want us to belong. What are the ways that Baba helps us overcome this disappointment? Can we experience a belonging in all situations through Baba? He has said several things that are helpful. To have loved one soul is like adding its life to your own. Your life is, as it were, multiplied, and you virtually live in two centers. If you love the whole world, you vicariously live in the whole world. You can own the world without being attached to it, so long as you do not allow yourself to be owned by any part of it. Eric echoed this last statement when he would say from time to time in Mundley Hall, "This whole world is yours, but you have to claim it. Through love, you incorporate what is outside of you into your own being." For example, as I see it, if we love birds and we learn their names, their habits, where they nest, and what they feed on, and we love going out and observing them, soon we will find them flying around inside of us. We have incorporated them into our being, and our being expands through this inclusive love. We have all been, whoops, we have all been in situations where we don't feel we belong. What causes us to feel this way? What can we do to remedy this? The Mandli gave us such a feeling of belonging to them and to Baba. How can we continue that feeling of belonging? What part does acceptance of others play in this? Often we seek to belong in a situation or with a group of people, but we wind up sometimes feeling excluded. Are we approaching it all backwards? What if we extend a belonging to all others? What will we experience? Krishnamurti, whom Baba referred to as a saint,
Oh, let
once.
me, Goer, let me stop here a moment.
Okay.
So it's because someone contested that he might, I had heard that Baba said he was a saint, but let's just say he's a spiritual teacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My father had met him actually, yeah. Krishnamurti, whom Baba referred to as a saint, once said, "If you want to be loved, just love. When you love, you are no longer inquiring whether or not someone loves you. In extending an inclusiveness to someone, does it have to be expressed externally? What if the person is abusive or takes advantage of us? Is it possible to be inwardly inclusive while at the same time keeping an external distance, especially if the person is not open to changing their behavior? If you know you belong to Baba, does that make it easier for you to feel you belong to the whole world, given that the whole world belongs to Baba? If you exclude others, will that affect your own feeling of belonging? If we are sincerely dedicated as we see it, can you scroll up, please? Good. Okay. If we are sincerely dedicated as we see it to the spiritual well being of others in each situation, then we will naturally feel that we belong in every situation. These are quite a few questions that several of us came up with others on this topic. What do you have to say, Jeff?
Okay. Let's, so Angela, so anyone want to weigh in on that? I mean, that I just put that out there just to kind of prime the pump a little bit. But it's, I mean, at the center, I mean, so many people, I mean, being Baba people, we are often regarded as slightly fringe people, and we're not going to belong to the world often. I mean, other people are not going to necessarily put us on their guest list. So that's a difficult thing if we're wanting to be accepted and feel we belong, because other people, our way of life sometimes runs counter with what other people. So, but is there a way around it? That's the important thing too. So anyone want to venture out?
Do you want me to call on people, Jeff?
Yeah,
Is
go
your-
ahead. Yeah.
So, Terry,
So today was a big day for me personally, and it had to do with what we're talking about tonight. So it was very interesting. When I was a young girl, we didn't belong to any temple or any religious place, or so I was realizing today, talking to Diane, that I've never really had community. So I don't really know what it's like. And so I learned a little bit when my kid went to school, because they had school meetings that included all the parents, but I worked on the day that they had them. So mostly Diane went. So I still kind of missed out on community. And I'm really good one-on-one, but I don't really get community, because there's an intimacy you share one-on-one that's different in community. You get little bits of everybody. And so today the center in LA was open, and I got to see the faces of people and touch them and hug them. And the feelings were so immense for me that I realized that there is nothing like community. And with Baba at the head of it, it's the most amazing thing whatsoever. And when you just totally love people, I just think it comes back, you just feel it. Anyway, because I'm not used to public speaking, and I've taken a bigger role talking on the computer than I have in public, Lolo asked me to read something, and there were quite a few people there, and I would never say no. And I asked Bubba to help me, and I stood up and with a strong voice was able to read this whole thing with feeling and a strong voice. And I really was loving people, I was saying, and I literally felt like a Zoom go through me. The feeling was so intense. It was such an amazing experience. So for all those years I was made fun of, and I didn't feel like I belonged, and I felt outside. Here in Bubba's community, I feel so different, and I feel so grateful, and I love you all, and I have so much gratitude to what you bring to my life and each other's life, and our desire to hold on to Baba, but still be able to go out in the world and do our worldly stuff, but come back to this. It's just an amazing experience. Thank you, Jay Baba.
Beautifully, beautifully said, Terry. Wow.
Lenita, did you want to go?
I go later.
Okay.
Okay, let me think about it a little bit longer. Somebody can go before me. I go.
Anyone else? I mean, I just to say, when I went to India, and I think all of you felt that, the Mandali gave you such a feeling of belonging that when I first went, I had the feeling, well, Baba loves everybody, but does he really love me? Does he actually know me? But the Mandali they connected to me, not just me, I mean hundreds of us, but that by extension, if I belong to them and they're like my favorite aunts and uncles, I must by extension belong to Baba. And they kind of like bridged that thing, so I felt solid in accepting that Baba loves me personally as he loves each of us. So that feeling of belonging that they conveyed, I felt for me was the greatest gift from the Mandali. Not, they had great wisdom and everything, but that feeling of belonging was something fundamental that kind of set me straight for this life, you might say. So, anyone else? And later on, we'll talk about how you can feel belong in every situation. There is a way. Well, we got Tony is just, tongue-tied, No, everybody just take your time. Oh, go ahead, Diane.
Go ahead, Lenita.
Hey, Bob, everyone.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, I struggle my whole life with not feeling that I belong to anything, not even my family when I was growing up. My parents never gave me that sense that I belong. That's my home, that they love me, that's the place where I came from, where I live, and I was accepted. It was never felt that I was accepted as I was. So, I struggle with this, my life, and then I got married, have children, and then I forgot about, sometimes I would forget about, and then in some situation, that feeling will come back, in New York, I felt, actually in Brazil, and I have a family, I have a force, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, but I never had the feeling of belonging because they are cold, they are kind of cold. I don't know, I just.
You know what, Lenita, you're breaking up. Lenita? Uh-oh, we can't. Lenita.
Belonging more, than.
Lenita, you're breaking up.
Is it okay?
The last we heard is you didn't feel like with your aunts and uncles and all your extended family, you didn't really feel you belonged. They were a little bit cold. So that's where you left off.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Maybe
Well, look at me and I'll tell you when I go like that, it means we can't hear you. Okay.
Maybe if you turn off your video.
Can I talk now?
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I just want to finish quickly because then I don't know when I'm gonna go off again. So, and then I said that when I start feeling more like a belonging to someone, I moved down to Myrtle Beach, where I'm belong to the Baba community here, to the center, and I feel more welcome, and I'm close to Baba more and more, and I feel like Baba is making me feel that I belong somewhere, And it was funny that the other day I was doing this work with family. What do you call? I forgot the name. Is a it's a group therapy kind of thing. It was just a workshop, wasn't a big deal, but they asked me to draw my family behind me, you know, my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents, and it was a drawing, you know, that I have to do, you know, to think about, and I have never done that, to think about every person that is behind me, that is before me. They are the reason why I'm here, you know. I have a piece of every one of them inside me, you know. And that was very powerful. That gave me a sense of belonging, very much so. It was wonderful to do that. And then of course, Baba in the center is a great sense of belonging to the community and to the center, and to being volunteering at the center now a lot, like I'm doing, is very meaningful to me. And it gave me a sense of being part of Baba's world. It's getting better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Jai
Lenita.
Baba.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Nobody heard anything, I guess.
Yeah, we got it.
Jeff, you look funny.
We got it.
Next we have Mahu.
Jeff, could you hear me? You could hear me?
Yeah, we
Got
got
it?
the
Okay.
we got the whole latter part. Yeah. So I guess we'll go
Mahu.
on to
Yeah.
who's next?
Mahu. Yeah. Next is Mahu.
Okay.
Mahu.
Yes. Should I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Simha. How do you say your name? Jai Simha?
Yeah.
Jai
That's
Simha.
right.
Jai
Jai
Simha?
Yep.
Say it.
Jai Simha.
Jai Simha. Okay, got it. Well, first let me lower my hand, and then now I can talk. I joined late, so I haven't listened to a lot of people except Lenita. I'm one of those people that belong to the group of people who feel that I belong to Baba. By feeling that I belong to Baba and Baba belongs to me, we have this one-to-one relationship. We have this lover and beloved relationship. And once you work toward strengthening that relationship with one and only, then that sense of fulfillment, that sense of completeness, all would come to you. It feels as you don't really need anybody else. Believe me. I mean, when you are around other people, or, you know, like I participate in Zoom sessions, group, this, that, it's very fulfilling because we exchange thoughts and so forth. But I only participate because I wanted through that, I want to remember Meher Baba. I figure if I don't make an effort to participate in some of these sessions, I may do other things while fulfilling my responsibilities, and but not necessarily may not remember to repeat Baba's name all the time. Now, if I have an inner discipline to remember Baba's name, then I'm all done. But, you know, mind wanders around at times. You're tired, you might have a headache, cold, this and that. But once you know that Baba is your everything, then you know, whomever you come across is Baba. Baba is in everyone and in everything. Then, you know, whether they come to you, whether you have it or don't, you still have Baba. And I feel like this sense of only establishing this one-to-one relationship with your master, it gives you that the feeling of freedom and not needy. You see, there's that fine line that we got to be a little bit careful. Everything in this illusory life, out of Maya, we are in Maya, is trying to create dependency because of their, you know, participation with our ego mind. So our ego mind also wants to claim independency and dependency. So it is best for me is to stare aside. Don't get involved with it. Let the ego do his own work, and then you do your own work. That's for me is what's working right now. If you would have talked to me 10 years ago, different. But you see, Baba is working constantly in our consciousness. He is obliged to take us to our destination, yet he's suggesting that we love him and remember him to make this route shorter. He's suggesting that they're working alternatives. But even if we don't do that, even if we don't make any effort whatsoever, still he just holding on to his Dhamman, he will do the job and take us there, which I would prefer do the work for him, because I feel like if I don't, all I do is I will create suffering for him. Anyway, I think that's where we should aim to, that just belong to Baba. Don't belong to community, be with the community, but not to be of it. That's my opinion. Community, any group is part of the world because we are in a world of duality. Do you want to belong to them? I say no. It doesn't work for me anymore. Because once I belong to Baba and I look for his presence within me, my inner being, or even outside, gazing at his picture and so forth, then I don't need anybody else. And I guess that's what my goal is, but each one of us are different, and I don't necessarily suggest that others do the same thing. You might think I'm crazy. I may be crazy, but that's it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. There's some other camera angles on the same thing. Who we got next?
Marian?
Okay. Hi. Thank you. Yes, with my hat on. Well, this is such a topical topic for me, as I guess I've been working on transformation of this subject for decades. So it's great that it's in my face, and I appreciate the sharing. So I'm coming from a place of sharing, not telling anybody else what to do, that's for sure. And this is, for me, when I'm in my emotions, I'm not talking about feelings. I distinguish feelings and emotions. Emotions are a very quick life or death reactive state. And for me, feelings are a wave that go through me and keep going. And when I'm in my emotions, I feel like I don't belong anywhere, and I never did. And I try to belong and be a good member of things, but it always falls apart for me. Either I get disinterested or the organization falls apart or something. And so sometimes what I love about being a follower of Meher Baba is that he wants everything. And I use the he as, because I don't have another name for he. Because when I sometimes complain, because Baba loves it when I complain, because it's the other side of the coin. In duality, there's two sides of a coin. I was always a little more on the submissive one. The other side of the coin is aggression. So as Baba says in the discourses, when you can hold both sides of duality equally, it's the entree into the unitive state. But there's going to be one side that I'm most afraid of, and that's asserting myself and who I am. So that's been my challenge. So what I find when I don't belong and don't feel like it, underneath this mask of poor me, I don't belong, is a mean, nasty Marion. So when the veil comes off, and I've studied much bioenergetic work, core energetic work, so I know how to process it, turn it over to Baba and release, because I don't have just one body. I have a mental body, a subtle body, and I have a physical body. I have a spiritual body. So I know that it's in the energy body that where I need to go. So I really let it rip. And I tell Baba, especially around maybe organizations, like today I had a Zoom meeting with my women's time banking group, and some of us have known each other for 30 years. Well, I can judge everybody because nobody measures up. So to the degree that I feel I don't measure up, nobody else is measuring up in my life. And that includes those who are closest to me. Children, I have 2 children, I have 4 grandsons. It's like nobody measures up and meets my expectations. So I do have a process, and that is, I know they are not causing my disappointment in them, or the groups that I'm involved with that I feel I never belong. They aren't doing anything to me. So, but I feel like they are. So that's my very young, early childhood Marion, feeling very left out of things. So I tell Baba that I'm going to release what this person or this group triggered in me. They didn't cause it. And then I do I look at Baba's picture and I said, I'm going to release this so that I may be filled with your love, light, and life. Because nobody causes anything in me, but they trigger it in me. So then I let it go. So I've thrown people off the George Washington Bridge, and I have buried people in deep holes, and I've done all kinds of nasty things, but always from the intention of releasing what has been stored in me probably for many lifetimes. And then when I do that, release and ground it, and I know how to do that. I know how to ground it, and I know how to vibrate with it and let it go. I feel absolutely light and loving and wise, and in my nature of that what Baba says, we are that trifold nature of, knowledge, power, and bliss inside. Then I just feel my delight, and there's no comparison. So I have to do that a lot. So I'll end with that, because there's always a next stage. I clear up some stuff, and then comes the next level and a whole nother experience, and I do it again. So I'll just make that my sharing for now, because I'm very grateful that I have these tools. In other words, to release it from stored cellular memory.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and get that feeling of belonging in yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone else want to weigh in? There's a hand there.
Cindy Lou.
Okay.
So I'm at the center, which is wonderful, in Myrtle Beach. I'm now laying in bed. That's why my camera's off. And I got here on Friday, and on Saturday there was a concert. So I got to see people like Lenita. I think, Lenita, you were the first person that I hugged that I've only known on the 1 inch by 2 inch square. And then Robin and so many people, and Jeff and Peter and so many people. And I just thought, like, I wouldn't trade that in. There's a song called Calling All Angels by Jane Sideberry, and it's like, it goes in the litany like St. Teresa, whatever, and it said, would you trade it in, all the pain and suffering, to miss the light upon the earth and the sweetness of leaving? And it's like calling all angels. And I thought, that's quite a gift. But where I get stuck is when I would give my sense of feeling secure into belonging to people, because we're all impermanent. Like, Lenita's impermanent, her soul is forever, but that Lenita flower, she's impermanent. And so how to really enjoy the flower called Lenita, because flowers are lovely, but not to be my security, not to come from that. And that's what I just feel so tender tonight in this business of belonging, the vulnerability to seek belonging, knowing that the only belonging that will satisfy is to my soul, Baba, all the different words we know for the oneness, and then how to enjoy the flavors in existence. Jeff, you had said something to me similar today about, and I think it was in the reading about Erich, like, but it was more about like how to not be attached to anything, but just shine your love. Shine your love. And that's easy for me to do here and with you all. Even laying in bed in the near cabin and talking to you all. And my first thing, I don't really stay up for the late night chat, so this is quite lovely. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and keep that cabin clean now.
It's so clean, Jeff.
We have Lanita again.
I just want to say one thing that, thank you, Cindy. It was wonderful to meet you too. Cindy, they gave me a hug that I really felt that I belong somewhere. We hug each other that we knew each other forever and ever and ever. Was just meeting Saturday at the center, on the center. And we look at each other, it's like we knew each other forever, and we gave this hug. Was amazing, Cindy. Thank you. And it was really belonging. Belonging to you, belonging to us, to Baba, to our love, to our soul. It's a meeting, a souls meeting. Our souls encounter each other and recognize each other. It was a beautiful encounter. It was really amazing. And
yes, for sure.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. And enjoy the center. Love you. Much love.
Yeah.
And another one thing that I want to say, that what gives also the sense of belonging that I should have mentioned, the first thing I should have said, is this group here, our group, the Arti and the late chat, is like, it's very, it's amazing how we belong to this, and we talk and we share things, and Jeff makes us feel, that we belong to each other here and to Baba, to our love to Baba. And Jeff, I agree with Cindy and say that Jeff has this amazing love and this soul that is so open, accommodating, and loving. And I have the fortunate to clean the farmer shed cabin with Jeff on Saturday. All afternoon we clean it's a big cabin on the center that we clean together. We vacuum with dust, we clean the bathrooms. It was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
So, okay, people, much love to you all. Thank you so much. Jai Meher Baba.
Yep.
Love you, love you, love you.
Thank you, Lanita. Anyone else want to talk about belonging?
Rainy.
So when I was young and heard of Baba, we kind of heard of him through one person, Stephen and I. And so we sort of worked it out a bit for ourselves. Amazingly enough, Melbourne kind of reminds me of San Francisco, one of these enormous cities, but no Baba group, so to say, ever. It was just the most amazing thing. And the leader and the informer and the person who wrote to Baba was without doubt the most exotic, ridiculous, eccentric, amazing, older Jewish poet you have ever met in your entire life, named Adrian Rawlins, and he'd be delighted that I described him so right off the top. So there wasn't a group, there wasn't something cohesive, and we'd been fairly free with Baba. I mean, when I first read the discourses, I thought he and the master was your boyfriend. I had no idea what it was all about. So when we did finally move 1,000 miles and came across Avatar's abode through chance and through well, we didn't know that, through this poet guy who'd lived in India, this Mandali Francis Brabazon, both being only children, and my husband a Hungarian Yugoslav refugee, we didn't know anything about behaving with other people, just with a boyfriend or girlfriend or mum, and that was about it. So one of the things I noticed, though, with both of us, we shut up. We shut up and listened. Imagine that. I actually shut up. We shut up and we listened a lot. Mostly because of suddenly we both experienced something neither of us had ever experienced before, and that was self-consciousness. We were so self-conscious of our and aware of our ignorance. And we'd been reading for 2 years, on and off, with a bit of dope here and there and whatever, affairs and things, hippies. But suddenly we were quiet. And what we learned, because Francis himself was similar to us, of a man who had been dumped, bang, in the middle of a group for 11 years, a very aware group. And that's how we felt. There we were in the middle of a group. And suddenly we were doing everything in group behavior. Next thing we joined Mayor Handcrafts. We were even in an idealistic group company. And so the lessons learned and the giving, Francis used to say, if there's ever a reason to steal, steal that sign on the freeway. Yield. Yield. Give way. Yield. Give way. And if a squabble would come up, very quietly, before a meeting would begin, he would say, Felix, could you and Rainey just hug in the middle of the room and go back to your places? Nothing was said about the subject, and nothing was ever said again about the subject of I don't want to change your tires, you're too spoilt, or whatever the stupid thing had been. It was dissolved. So I sort of feel that somehow being around a group with a similar subject of, oh my God, they think this guy's God, you know, and such a difficult subject where our relatives and other friends are concerned, that dissolving, that melting, that melding, that yielding, all takes place all by self, as Franny would say, all by self. It just happens. And I don't know of a better place for it to happen than belonging to him and belonging to one another. Jai Baba.
Beautiful. Very touching. Yeah. Anyone else?
Diane or Terry. Dan, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I have 2 older brothers and I was the younger sister, and I would always felt left out. You know, my mom told me that I would knock on one of their doors, they'd open up the door and slam it. Then I'd trot off to the other door and I'd knock on the door and the same thing would happen. So those kind of childhood injuries, maybe they also came from many lifetimes before, do narrate a lot of what goes on. Yet years of therapy and being honest and diligent about excavating the injuries does help. But I will concur with Terry about having a sense of community. We have had lots of communities by being parents, by being lesbians, by being Jews. We've had lots of different like clubs we could have joined, if you will. And this one has been the most profound for me. Terry alluded to the fact that we got to see we went Zoom to human today at the LA Center. And just like it's happening for Lanita and for Cindy and for Jeff now, probably on a daily basis. It is pretty incredible when you've had such authentic been part of such authentic conversations. I mean, I agree nothing's better than human to human, but there's something about this forum that does allow us all to be, I think, more authentic and more delving and more vulnerable than we would over coffee at a Starbucks or meeting at a center. I don't know, that's my first hit. The past year and a half has made small talk very excruciating for me. So I want to thank this group. I agree with Rainey's opening statement, which was very had so many levels it was delving in. But Jeff, the way you conduct this orchestra and let us all have our own solos is really quite amazing. And the harmony that comes out and how it's so civil but not tight-lipped. And so I want to thank you for letting me be part of this group.
Yeah, no, I people have spoken so deep, so vulnerably here, and we've never set down any rules or anything, but the empathy that is just there, it's our best side of us, it's just been there. That we've had probably, well over 100 of these things, and there's never been a sarcastic or harsh remark, Not that we've forbidden it, but we're kind of, the beautiful thing is that people are representing what they feel with Baba. How could it be wrong, It's a beautiful thing. So what about, should I pry Tony out of his reverie there, or shall I, you in a pass still?
I was just, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just writing some notes because the pistons have been firing in all different directions. And from the beginning, I've been having trouble just getting a handle on the issue, the question. It's got so many diverse facets. It's like, well, one is if you have a feeling of belonging to Baba, what else matters? I realize none of these things I'm saying are meant to be exclusive of the exact opposite. But if you have that feeling of belonging to Baba, what else really matters? So if somebody, and if I find myself in communities that allow me, or with people that allow me to express who I am and welcome me expressing who I am and who I can embrace in the same way, I feel that's belonging. That's the belonging to Baba that's manifesting. There is the clear awareness that when there's a sense of not belonging, it is always some ego thing. And I don't mean that pejoratively or judgmentally, but it's the ego is, Baba, I think it actually defines it as the affirmation of separateness. So whether it's from anger or judgment or superiority or inferiority, it's always the egos. And you can say it's the other person's ego, but ultimately if I'm reacting, it's my ego. I can project it on the other person. So the lack of belonging is ultimately is coming from me, even when the other person seems like a real SOB. Well, let me see what else I've got here. Well, then these two stories that came to mind, they've been on my mind actually, but about that it's not the other person who's not accepting you. When my daughter Clara was almost 3 years old, I was in India for 6 weeks and arranged for her mother to bring her for 2 weeks in the middle. And so many wonderful experiences of her, particularly in Baba's room. She ran, didn't know anything about it, but in Baba's room in Pune, she ran to the stone and bowed down around the corner and ran straight to. But when she got back, there were a number of things that happened. But the one that's been on my mind was her mother and I were separating. That's really what that trip was about. Either Baba would keep us together or we would end there. And so I would take her to the babysitter. Her mother was working, I was working, so I'd drive her to the Greek woman who would older Greek woman, who was a lovely woman who took care of her, and I'd pick her up and bring her home, whether it was my week or her mother's. And one day I'm in the car with her, and she's in the baby seat in the back, and suddenly, I think a rubber band or a hair band flicks across and bounces off the radio in the front of the car. I said, Clara, was that you? And she said, no. I said, all right. And it happened again. And I said, Clara, was that you? No. And now I'm getting really angry. And this time a third one comes in. It really said, I said, Clara, was that you? Tell me the truth now. I won't be mad at you, but tell me the truth. Was it you? Yes, Daddy. And then there's a long silence. Then she said, Daddy loves me. And she's melting me, and I said, yes, I'm angry, but it's like, yes, Clara, Daddy loves you. Baba loves me. I said, yes, Clara, Baba loves you. Baba doesn't shout. No. Daddy shouts. Uh-huh. And she said, I swear to God, she said, it's not me. It's not me. In other words, the shouting was not her being caused by Clara. It was because now she has the same birth.
Ego, Tony.
What's that?
She already knew about the provisional ego.
So so many wonderful stories with her, and yet now I don't know what her relationship with Baba is. I think he's playing with her. But what was I going to say? Oh, I just lost it. Oh yeah, Clara's birthday. An early mentor of mine was Harry Kenmore, and interestingly, her mother, who was not a Baba lover when I married her, she accepted my love for Baba. That was enough. But we were heading to India, and we wound up meeting with Delia de Leon in London. And out of the blue, in this room full of people, she said to my then wife, so do you accept Meher Baba as the avatar of the age? And my very shy, kind of timid ex-wife, Brazilian, but timid, promptly answered yes. I went, what? Well, it turns out that, so in a way that was her Baba, an early major Baba contact. Both Delia and Harry and Clara, my daughter, have the same birthday. And in my, so I always thought of them as her spiritual grandparents, but in my birth chart, that's exactly where the North Node is, which is where you open to your spiritual direction. It's not the natural place to go. So all three of those people have a natural effect of waking me up to places that I might not otherwise go. But it comes back again to the belonging thing, though. It's not the other person. And if Baba creates the situation, like my family, my father died when I was 9, and his whole half of the family, which was the active half really in my life, walked away. My uncle had a beef about getting one of my father's guitars, and my mother was keeping them for me, and a tremendous sense of, talk about not belonging, and my father, suddenly he's not there. But clearly, Baba, that was arranged for what my growth needed. The other piece I want to add, and it's like family night for my share tonight. The astrologer Stephen Forrest posted a link, who I like very much. He posted a link of all these children who had memories of their past lives. There was like a paragraph each, and it was really marvelous. And it was all at around the age 3 or 4 that they would blurt out something. And when my grandson was 3 or 4, I got a call from my daughter that he had said to her, "I was Grandpa's daddy." And I instantly knew it was true. I had spent some 40 years thinking, I mean, after I read Edgar Cayce and then came to Baba, read about reincarnation, that I might run into him. And I'd finally given up. It was not going to happen. But when my grandson was born, the most striking thing is when I'd go to visit, I'd give him a hug as we were leaving, and it was the most unusual hug. There was something to it that on both of our parts. And what I realized in retrospect after hearing that comment was, yeah, it was like me and my dad saying, suddenly you weren't there and now you're back. Now you're here again. And and I watch him now, this is 10 years later, and he's unfolding the same talents that my dad had and his own musical talents in his own way in this current milieu. But the thing that really struck me about that was it was so reassuring that there is no loss. There really is no loss. I experienced an intense loss, and it shaped my life. And yet, when it accomplished what it needed to accomplish in me, Baba gave me this little gift to say, all right, well, you see, here he is, here you are. And for him, whether he understood it or not, he doesn't remember this now. He's almost 17. But it's like that. I think it's the same with belonging. We may have to experience not belonging and to think someone else is dissing us, maybe. But I think it's either and our own ego and Baba creating what we need to grow. All right. I hope that wasn't too random and all over the place.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Beautiful. Wow. You know, I'll share something that that I gathered from Erich especially, and it has just been infinitely helpful in my life. But from time to time, Erich would say that we can each be a caretaker of the world. And this is Erich saying we can be a caretaker of the world, but it takes tremendous audacity. I mean, he would say we have a duty from Baba to be in readiness to devote ourselves to the spiritual well-being of others in every situation. Therefore, we always belong to every situation. I don't know if that makes sense. Even if others reject us or exclude us, we have a duty to think of their well-being and be dedicated to that. So even if I find myself in a situation where people don't want me to belong, but that's how they feel, but my duty is to be concerned about how they're doing. So that gives me the feeling of belonging. But someone would say, invariably counter Erich by saying, well, who am I to be a caretaker of the world? And Erich would reply, who are you not to be a caretaker of the world? I don't know if that makes sense, but so I just have to say that I don't have the feeling that of not belonging. There's always something to do in every situation. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's been something that's been invaluable. So any situation I go to, there are people, and I owe give them my best attention and everything. Even if they don't like me or are interested in me, I belong. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it works for me.
Hi, Jeff, that is so helpful. That caretaker of the world. Like I feel that in my being. And it feels like such a natural, inspired way of living. Like it doesn't feel hard to be a caretaker of the world. It feels like there's always something interesting and meaningful to do if you want to do something. There's always prayers to be had if you want to just pray or meditate. And that was like really, that touched my heart in a way because with the divorce that I went through, my ex-husband's family, including the children that I was there for their birth, was whatever they've all had to do, they've decided to choose sides, and they've chosen, and that I have not been part of or even be invited to baby showers, which is kind of crazy. But what I haven't been doing is like caring about their welfare. And that's probably why it hurts me, is that I'm kind of being more selfish about not getting attention. And I just have this flood of, yes, I've cared about them and I will always care about them. And I might have no personal relationships with them, but my soul loves to care and they're part of the world. And something just lifted, a really big thing lifted with the whole ex-husband family when you were sharing. So I very much appreciate that. Thank you, Baba.
Yeah. No, like I say, that came from Eric. She would roll that out every once in a while. We're meant to be caretakers of the world. Seems like, wow, how presumptuous. But he would say it's presumptuous not to think that way. He used to flip it around the other way.
We have Patty.
Jai Baba, everybody. This is a pretty intense, deep subject. And I'm also glad you brought that up, Jeff, because where I've been thinking of marvelous email about the questions arisen that you sent out, questions to think about and ponder on. But I can give you stories and all the things about childhood and how I felt, but what arises in me is part of the effort and grace I happened to open up to just a little while ago before this began was about standing for the truth within. And it appears here collectively, we believe we are that source of light and love. And when you are the source of light and love, then what would love do for humanity? I don't come from that as often as I would want to choose it. But if I am wanting to choose it, I'm not in it. It has to be a spontaneous arising of love. And when you are love and when you're loving, there isn't separation. You see love in everybody. We can call it Baba. I don't care the words right now, but I think in our human experience on the planet, everyone here probably has experiences from childhood and family and oppositions and separations and places where to be in that space of love and caring and offering up is hard to dig into at those moments because we have reactions and we have sanskars and there's patterns that happen. And I've been pondering this a lot since I read the email, and something happened that came across the Facebook. And I just want to share it because it so touches me so deeply. it was posted by a woman who had been on a bus, a city bus in a very crowded, I'll say Chicago, because there's water there, a big city, and all these people on the bus were stuck in traffic. And the palpable experience on the bus was agitation, irritation, frustration, and it was growing and growing and growing. And all of a sudden, the bus driver gets on the microphone and says, "All right, you guys, I know we're stuck in this traffic. We're not going very fast. We all have places to be. And I can feel what's happening here. So I can't fix it right now, but I can offer you something." He says, everybody, when you come to your stop, finally, I'll hand out my hand, my open hand to you. And you give every worry, every frustration, everything, and put it in the palm of my hand. Wow. And the last stop on this bus is the river. And I promise you, I will dump all of this in the river for all of us today. Don't take it home to your families. Don't take it home to anybody. And he literally, the woman describes on the bus, everybody was stunned, but then all of a sudden the energy changed, and everybody who went up to get off that bus, he put their hand out and they gave him everything. And they all changed, everything changed. And he became the light in that moment. He became the love of that whole thing, which, I mean, it was so touching to read that you can be the light at any time and you can be the love. So it's the choice, but we have to have it. We have to feel it. We have to make room for the other things to dissolve in us to make it come up. So, you know, that's when I read that, I was thinking about this and I thought, I need to make that choice. I need to see it all the time, you know, and not reflect anything other than, you're just like me, sister and brother. I'm here. We're working through this. Let's make it positive. Let's love each other through it. And there are many experiences in my arena where this isn't happening. So anyway, I just want to offer that because it was such a sweet story. Jai Baba.
Oh, beautiful, Patty. Wow, that was lovely.
Yeah, beautiful story. Wow.
Goer, can I bother you up there in the upper right-hand corner?
Oh, Jeff, it's been wonderful to listen to everyone's stories. It's so heartening and beautiful. Yes, I'm more like you, Jeff, in that I don't feel, I feel that if I have Baba in me and I project that to anybody else, then there's always a sense of belonging. There's no getting away from that. There's no feeling of, alluding to what Patty just said, we all have experiences in our younger years where for no rhyme or reason you're excluded or you're not talked to, or as a very shy child and a wallflower at that, I had tons of those experiences and I could never fathom as to why this is happening or what have I done to make it happen, that kind of thing. But then as you grow older, you know, you mature and you learn more. And of course, all of us that are so blessed to be within Baba's circle and know his teachings and his love, we are so blessed that we finally understand, you know, it doesn't matter why it happened. All that matters is that we now have grown into that matured state of having him and projecting him to others, into others, so that we always feel that we belong. That's all I have to
Beautiful.
share.
Wow. Whoa. Yep. Yeah. I think your father would give you a standing ovation for that.
Oh, please. We're blessed. We all are blessed to be so loved.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's, if you wait around for people to give you the feeling of belonging, you're going to be sadly disappointed in a lot of situations.
Exactly.
So there's got to be a different way.
Yes.
You know, because people, yeah, it's
As soon as
there's,
your perspective changes, it changes everything. So,
yeah, yeah. I like to say, if you make others feel that they belong, you naturally feel you naturally belong. It's just a fact.
yes,
If you
exactly.
make your effort to give people a feeling of belonging, then you belong in every situation,
Yes,
even if they don't want you to
yes.
belong to their group.
Yeah. And I'll just quickly share one more thing. In my adult years, it happened that the closest person to me, for whatever reason, had gone off the deep end kind of thing, and it was, I guess it was meant to be, but and so I felt very rejected, very disillusioned, all of that. And then a friend of mine came along, and it was just so timely. And he said to me, Gohar, in spite of what has happened, can you still say that you love? And when he asked that question, it really opened my heart to that, which I had, it just had not hit me at that point. Can you still say that you love in spite of what has happened to you? And I said, and I very, very, it was such a wonderful realization to know that, yes, I'm still me. Nothing has really changed. And yes, I was so happy to say that, yes, I could, and I do still. Yes, I can love that person. So it was a huge turning point for me, but it opened up my eyes.
Wow, beautiful.
And things just fell into place right after that. So it was a huge turning point. So, Jai Baba.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes it's our feelings are different from our love. We can have disturbing feelings towards somebody, but at the same time, we know we love them,
Yeah.
and we would do anything for them for their well-being, even if we find them a bit disagreeable.
Yes.
You know, because that's just our sanskars,
Yeah.
in commotion. You know.
Yeah.
I'll just mention this. Uh, this is, I've said this before, but I think it's very pertinent here, relevant, that uh, there was this longtime follower of Baba, Agnes Barron, who was up in Mayermount. She was, that was her. And she was kind of a slightly abrasive person, from my experience, and difficult and everything, but she would give you the shirt off her back. She had great love, but her personality was a little bit prickly. And so when Baba went there in 1956, she was driving him from Mayermount to Los Angeles, and in the car, she said, Baba, some people just don't like me. And then Baba says, but I like you. Wow. But that was one thing I thought was great. But when she was in Los Angeles, she had difficulties. She had a conflict with Ivy Deuce, who was the head of the Sufis and everything. And she said to Baba, because she was kind of, this is the way she talked, but she said, Baba, you say we should love everyone. I don't love everyone. What are you going to do about that? And Baba said, Agnes, you love everyone, you just don't like everyone. So keep this, because she had a great love, but her actual son Scars didn't necessarily like everybody. So there's some knots and some knots in our son Scars that get touched off. Okay.
Radian.
Oh, I am so grateful for all the sharing. And I shared rather quickly because I wanted to share how I clear my energy field and balance the two sides of the coin that Bob has said is absolutely essential. So when I need to express my aggression, what I go through. However, my intention is to, just as all of you have shared, is to be in balance and to be open and unclog the channels where my heart is clogged. And so when it unclogs through by the release of any kind of negative energy, then my heart leads the way. As Baba said, we're here to balance the head and the heart, with the heart leading the way. And that is intuition, and that is love. And explaining that love is an energy, it's not an emotion. And the highest form of love is right action. So that has helped me so much getting grounded in these concepts, because then what you've all shared a lot, I can make a choice to be in a loving action for someone else. And as Baba said, just what you said, Jeff, you don't have to like everybody, but you have to love everybody. And so that has been the greatest gift. And I just wanted to kind of take it a step further. I don't stay with my release of my what's clogging up my channel, but then I'm in choice and I can choose a right action. And I'm very grateful. So thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, we're all trying to do the, for Baba's sake, to love others. And it's a beautiful, a beautiful thing. And I do always feel I feel Baba's very proud of us making these untiring efforts at trying to get this right, to hit the right note, and be able to consistently hit the right note. Let's see, anybody else? Anyone else? Should I just knock on somebody's door here?
Nope.
I actually, some people might, well, let's see, Janet Jacobs. What are some of your thoughts or feelings? But you can pass also. I'm just saying.
I really enjoyed listening to what everybody has spoken, and this whole concept of I mean, at first I thought, when you talked about this belonging, in the email and stuff, Jeff, I was relating it to, belonging to a Baba group or belonging to these groups on Zoom. And that's certainly been wonderful, but I really see that, or at least what's coming through to me and everybody's sharing, is that it's such a bigger topic, and it's belonging to life. And in belonging to for me, belonging to Baba is belonging to life. And, even the inanimate world, I mean, even trees and flowers and birds, like you were saying in the email. In fact, reading the email, it made me think, okay, one of my New Year's resolutions is going to be I love birds, but I'm going to be more actively pursuing that. Anyway, but that, so in belonging to Baba, we in a way belong to everyone on the heart level, or at least that's what I'm gleaning and what feels true to me. And that is so freeing, because in belonging to a group, like just a certain number of people, sometimes what I do is I trip up, and I feel like after I feel like I might belong to it, then it's my job to please everyone in the group. And then I no longer feel free. I feel like I'm there because I need to please them, and it kind of makes my life a little more constricted. And I don't mean in the sense of not respecting others, but I mean in the sense of feeling like other people have a concept of what I should be like, and I want to measure up to that. But what I'm getting from what we're speaking tonight is more a matter of, like like Baba said to Agnes Barron, I love you. And there's something about that that is just touches my heart deeply. I mean, I don't know that I'm as difficult as Agnes Barron, but I have my ways. Let's just put it that way. And so it isn't about behavior, being a certain way in order to feel like I deserve to belong. At least this is what I'm gleaning from tonight. It's about knowing that because Baba loves us all, we all belong. There's no not belonging.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very expansive thing. But, if you only belong to some and not to others, it doesn't work. You gotta take the thing straight up, It can't be watered down, I would say. Hey, what I'd like to, Elizabeth Weiss.
Yes.
Remember that poem that you wrote? I was hoping that you could read that at the very end.
Which one?
I know.
I don't really keep them in like 8 million different places and journals, but I could try to find it if
recording in progress.
There's one that you read a while ago on one of the Zoom sessions. But any one that you want to choose. But I remember one was especially very touching.
I'll take a look. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me. But wait a bit on that, and then we'll call you. We're coming. Oh, we're getting down toward the end here.
You have Rainy, Jeff. Rainy.
I did find a nice last couplet in Dust I Sing, but then I read the whole thing, and the whole thing's nice. So I'll say the last couplet, and we can decide.
Yeah.
And this is coming from, Baba's mercy towards everyone. I think of those I knew in half a penny prosperity. I would give them abundant gold from my present poverty.
Wow, read that again. Yeah.
He says penny farthing, so I'm saying half penny just to be clear.
Okay.
I think of those I knew in a half penny prosperity, but I would give them abundant gold from my present poverty.
Beautiful.
And that's the whole thing. We feel self-conscious compared to the Mandali, and yet we were given all these wisdoms. And it is time to reach out and take the worries off the people on the bus and toss them in the river, or toss them out the window, or toss them in the dooney. It is time to have confidence about that Baba might be coming through us, whether we feel worthy or not. Because I read in Lord Mayhair the other day where someone said to Baba, I'm not going to sit on that soft cushion while you're sitting on a hard bench. And Baba said, oh, so you're thinking more about you and how you feel, about sitting on a soft cushion than what I want you to do.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, no, it's we'll see. Let me just see. Let me ask Gabriella anything that you might have to say, and you can pass also. Whoop.
I am here, and I'm also possibly visible. Let's see.
Yeah.
Say how I look right now. Okay. Just back from Israel.
Is
That
there
is-
a,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. Have you been following what we're
This
talking
topic,
about?
yes. Well, I sort of was drifting off, but I heard
Yeah.
some important pieces there. And well, I guess I wasn't adding anything because largely I'm very in it, what you're talking about. And so I don't have this perspective of distance, perhaps, as much as some folks there. But I did have that experience very much with my family, having very much wanted to be with them. And then when I got there, after a year of sort of intense longing, my mother turned out had to go for surgery, and she wanted me to leave. And it was devastating because I wanted to be there for her the way I wanted to be there for her. And the way I've sort of had a little time to think about it, I thought, well, my experience was how maybe a little taste of what some of the Mandali felt at the New Life when Baba told them that they had to leave because, they wanted nothing but to be with him and to serve him, which is how I'd felt with my mother. And I was able to put it to that. I thought a lot about it all. Well, I've thought some about it, just felt a lot about it, that it was really not my mother saying that, it was Baba saying it. It was Baba telling me that I shouldn't be there right then, and that there's a reason that I can't understand all of it. That I have hints, and that anyway, the thing about belonging, not belonging, that's what you were talking about, and
Yeah.
and I did find, because my mother, she needed me to be there in a certain sense, so I needed to be there the way I could be there, and my mother's kind of in the slow process of dying, and I did not want to in any way upset her or hurt her. And so it wasn't a time for drama or asking questions or anything like that. And so I dug really deep, and I did find Baba helped me so very much to just love and give in whatever way I possibly could, and find a way to be cheerful, because I wanted her to feel as good as she could, and for me to feel as good as I could is very likely the last time I'll see her. So it was very, it was so intense, of course, but so all of these things that you said, I said, yeah, that makes sense. I was feeling that. I did feel a lot of that, of what you had said earlier about caretaker to the world and loving, being, whether they like it or not, you're the caretaker. You're there to help in whatever way you can, whether they think they want you there or not, and you just do and offer what you can. But it's being, it's nothing that I took lightly. It was very, very, very deep for me. And I'm very grateful for just to the degree that I have it, the understanding that I have from Baba about love, and that real love being what that other person really wants from you, not what you want for them. And real love being acceptance and surrender in a situation like that. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Really, you did very well with that, I would say. I mean, what can you do? But, yeah, you surrendered that. As
Well,
painful.
I can't, that I wouldn't even say I did, but I did have an insight about it, perhaps, that I can't understand exactly why things are the way they are in that situation with my mother particularly, but when I was younger, I behaved in ways that hurt her very deeply, extremely deeply. Um, I tried to commit suicide when I was in my 30s, or late 20s, late 20s. And she was the one that found me. My mother was the one that found me there. And so, hey, she hurt me. I mean, what she did hurt me. I mean, she didn't do it on purpose, but it hurt me, right? But perhaps some balancing happens. Like, you don't know why Baba does what he does. That there's karma, even in this lifetime. I mean, yes, in other lifetimes for sure too, but there's karma even in this lifetime that he's trying to balance out, and he knows so much more than I do. And the love is not even questioned in this situation. The love is there. The love is there. It's not cruelty. There is something much deeper than that. So I don't know yet, because I've only been home a week, but I'm reeling. And then there was just enormous joy also, because our whole family was together for the first time in like 10 years, and like, as I said before, very likely the last time. And I felt so much strength in that. I felt so much courage and strength from the six of us being together. So that, that is more joy and also more loss. And where I joined in tonight was when Tony was talking about loss. And, thank you for that, Tony. And each of us, we don't know exactly why we say what we say to whom and who it's going to touch. So, we're out here in the Zoom sphere, and I do believe that it sort of ricochets here and there and everywhere, and it touches the right heart at the right time. So, thank you.
Beautiful. Well, let's see if Elizabeth, did you find something in your
So I have misplaced my journal, which is problematic for a variety of reasons. But I do have just one miraculously saved on my computer, so I don't know if it will be relevant, but I have one available.
Good. Go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna get Harriet for emotional support. Okay. This does not have a name. There is a straightforward and undecorated love vibrating through my heart, inside all your hearts. I hope you feel that love. Oh, Baba in his pink coat holds me firmly within the best kind of incarceration. Oh, cage me there. I don't have wanderlust for anything but you're beautiful. This love is the burning to overpower all burnings. You, a fire that's planting some kind of glorious seeds beneath my skin, blooming into new moons and wanderings and lovings, all beneath my oceans, all buried beneath my layers. You, oh you, that one word explodes me while sitting in your pictures. I breathe, I breathe, I breathe you. There are nations in the soft creases of your eyes. There are mountains in the way you hold your hands. I breathe into you. I breathe into you. That's it.
Oh, wonderful. Would you mind reading it once again?
Yeah.
That's just beautiful, Elizabeth. Wow. And then maybe let's have a few moments of silence after.
Okay. There is a straightforward and undecorated love vibrating through my heart, inside all your hearts. I hope you feel that love. Oh, Baba in his pink coat holds me firmly within the best kind of incarceration. Oh, cage me there. I don't have wanderlust for anything but you're beautiful. This love is the burning to overpower all burnings. You, a fire that's planting some kind of glorious seeds beneath my skin, blooming into new moons and wanderings and lovings, all beneath my oceans, all buried beneath my layers. You, oh you, that one word explodes me while sitting in your pictures. I breathe, I breathe, I breathe you. There are nations in the soft creases of your eyes. There are mountains in the way you hold your hands. I breathe into you. I breathe into you. J. Baba.
Wow, Jay Baba. Wow, lovely. Let's have a few moments of silence. Jay Baba.
Jay Baba.
Jay Baba. Wow. Any last comments? Anybody who doesn't feel they belong? No, it's
The links are evident.
yeah. No, I mean that last message that Baba gave on the alphabet board that we would be uh, held together not only with Baba by internal links, but with each other. You know, really, that's the last message he gave.
Well,
So this is, like I say, this is our support group for the next
700 years.
It really is.
700 years.
Yeah. Oh, hey, is Payam there? No, she's not.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I can call her if you wish. Can I call her to come? Anything?
If she can, I got a poem to read.
Okay, let me ask you to come right now.
It's her birthday today.
Oh,
Yes.
it's the beauty of a mum being able to text her daughter.
Yes, yes. Hold on, just a second. Coming, it's coming. Hold on.
I thought she was my daughter, Nasreen.
Oh, really? she can be.
For a long while.
Oh.
This is,
I am Jeff Sedat Mikoni. Jeff is calling you right
But
now.
I'm not here.
Where are you?
When I asked them, I didn't get for a Zoom meeting.
You go on Zoom and Jeff wants you.
I got a
Yeah,
poem.
he's coming.
This is a poem for her birthday.
Yeah, she's coming. She said, just bear with me. I'm coming. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
This birthday cake, Mom.
Oh, birthday. Yeah.
We got to hug Nazreen today.
Oh.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you for hugging me. And thank you
for hugging us back.
Yeah, thank you for letting me hug you.
It was good.
Thank you. She's coming. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the whole wide world in his hand. You and me. In his hand, he's got the whole world. In his hand, he's got the whole world. His hand, he's got the whole world. In his hand, come
Hey,
on.
Mama. Hello.
Okay, Payam.
Hey, Baba Payam.
Hey, Payam, here's a poem on your birthday.
Oh, thank you.
So, It's by some guy, I can't remember the name. Here it is.
Okay.
Blessed be the heart that dreamed the day the blueprint of your life would begin to glow on earth, illuminating all the faces and voices that would arrive to invite your soul to growth.
Wow.
Praise be your father and mother, who loved you before you were and trusted to call you here with no idea of who you would be. Blessed be those who have loved you into becoming who you were meant to be.
Oh.
Blessed be those who have crossed your life with dark gifts of hurt and loss that have helped to school your heart in the art of disappointment. When desolation surrounded you, blessed be those who looked for you and found you, their kind hands urgent to open a blue window in the gray wall formed around you.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Blessed be the gifts you never noticed, your health, eyes to behold the world, thoughts to countenance the unknown, memory to harvest vanished days, your heart to feel the world's waves, your breath to breathe the nourishment of distance made intimate by earth. On this echoing day of your birth, may you open the gift of solitude in order to receive your soul. Enter the generosity of silence to hear your hidden heart.
Wow.
And know the serenity of stillness to be enfolded anew by the miracle of your being.
Oh.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That was just amazing. I need to have that.
Yeah,
Please send it
I'll
my
send
way.
it to you. I'll send it to you, but
That was so beautiful.
I'm glad that your mom and dad are here.
Yes.
They contrived
Yes.
to bring you in.
Today I was especially grateful that I was born into this family.
Yep.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, happy birthday,
Thank you so much.
all of us here.
Yes, all of us. To be
Okay.
born into Baba's family. Jai
Yeah.
Baba.
Jai
Baba, Jai
Baba.
Baba, Jai
Jai
Baba,
Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Happy
Jai Baba.
birthday, Payam.
Thank
Jai
you.
Baba.
Thank you. Jai Baba. Thank you.
I hear Tony. Tony says he has a closing quote. What do you have there?
From Groucho Marx.
Uh-huh.
Two quotes. I would never be in a club that would have me as a member. And I have a good mind to join a club and beat you over the head with it.
Good.
Excellent.
That's it.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
Much love.
Good night, everyone.
Seema,
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jai Baba, everybody. Lots of love.
Jai Baba,
Love.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Jai
Avatar.
Baba.
Hey,
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, we got to have
Nazarene.
Nazarene and
Yes.
daughter.
Avatar, Meher,
Baba.
DJ.
Hey. Avatar.
Meher
Hey,
Baba.
Baba.
Jai.
Avatar.
Baba.
Hey.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Jai Baba.
Until the next time. Jai Baba.
Baba, until